Welcome to my channel, where your adventure into the future starts right now. Step into a vibrant universe filled with groundbreaking technology, breathtaking alien landscapes, and exhilarating sci-fi narratives that challenge your imagination. From daring explorations of distant galaxies to haunting journeys through dystopian societies, we uncover the most captivating stories and innovative ideas that will shape the world of tomorrow. Subscribe today and join us on an incredible intergalactic voyage that promises to inspire and thrill. The galaxy, vast and varied, had long been a place of extraordinary diversity, where worlds teemed with alien life forms. Some planets held species that had existed for millions of years, their biology adapted to their environments in ways that Earth's inhabitants could scarcely comprehend. Yet, despite this variety, most civilizations had reached a ceiling in their own evolutionary paths. On many worlds, evolution had plateaued. Species remained trapped in stagnant cycles of biological development, struggling to adapt to changing climates, environments, or resource crises. Some planets faced slow extinction due to the rigidity of their genetics, while others grew complacent in their development, unable or unwilling to progress beyond their ancient biological boundaries. Then, humanity appeared on the galactic stage, bringing with them not just technological prowess, but a living testament to the possibilities of genetic diversity. Earth, a world scarred by wars, natural disasters, and an ever-shifting environment, had nonetheless fostered an intricate web of life, its ecosystems in constant flux, its species evolving in response to shifting climates and competing forces. Human beings, as a species, embodied that very essence of adaptation. What they lacked in age compared to older galactic species, they more than made up for in their biological flexibility, genetic variability, and their sheer capacity for survival in a chaotic universe. Humanity had been shaped by Earth's tumultuous history. From ice ages to volcanic eruptions, from plagues to wars, humans had survived, and in the process, they had learned to evolve, to adapt not only biologically but socially, culturally, and technologically. They had been forced to live in constant flux, reshaping their ways of thinking, their belief systems, and their very biology to meet the challenges that had repeatedly threatened their survival. The human genome was a mosaic of genetic variation, a brilliant and messy web of traits that had been forged through countless generations of trial and error. This remarkable flexibility had been the key to humanity's survival, and it was this adaptability that would change the galaxy forever. It began with a diplomatic mission to the planet Vrelk, a species known for their long lifespan and immense intellectual capacity. They had long been admired for their advanced technology and cultural achievements, yet they were facing a biological crisis. The Vrelk, despite their extraordinary intellectual abilities, had reached a biological dead end. Their reproductive systems had become too specialized, too finely tuned to their environmental conditions, leaving them unable to adapt to the changing pressures of their planet's increasingly unstable climate. Their birth rates had plummeted, and they found themselves in danger of extinction, unable to evolve quickly enough to survive. When the Vrelk's leaders invited human scientists to assist, many were skeptical. After all, humans were considered a young and somewhat fragile species in the eyes of many of the galaxy's older civilizations. But the Vrelk had no other option. Their desperation pushed them to consider what they once would have regarded as a radical solution: human genetics. At first, human scientists were themselves uncertain. How could Earth's genetic knowledge, formed over millennia of survival, trial, and error, possibly help a species like the Vrelk, whose biology was so different from their own? But what human researchers brought to the table was a deep understanding of the malleability of life, a biological knowledge that transcended their own species' limitations. Human genes, shaped by centuries of survival in the face of environmental and societal pressures, contained encoded information that allowed for incredible adaptability. These genetic markers were not just static relics of their species' past, but tools for ongoing transformation and survival. The first experiment was a leap of faith. Scientists took the genetic material from a small group of humans, individuals with a history of rapid adaptation to varying climates, and began to introduce these genetic markers into Vrelk embryos. It was a painstaking process, requiring years of genetic research, fine-tuning, and testing, but after much trial and error, a breakthrough occurred. The Vrok began to exhibit genetic changes that allowed them to withstand temperature extremes, enhanced their immune systems, and increased their reproductive rates. Their biology, once stagnant, was now alive with possibility. The Vrok's adaptive capacity had been reignited by the very essence of humanity's genetic diversity. The implications of this discovery rippled throughout the galaxy. Species that had long struggled with stagnation began to look to Earth for answers. The Vrok, once a solitary species with little interest in external influences, now became a central hub of genetic research, collaborating with humans to further refine the techniques that had saved them. And they were not alone. One by one, species that had long lived in isolation, convinced that their biological paths were immutable, turned to humans to offer solutions to their own evolutionary crises. The Ascarii, a bird-like species with an impressive martial culture, were the next to reach out. Their unique challenge was the slow reproduction rate, which had led to a dangerously low population on their homeworld. The Ascarii had been forced to rely on their military prowess to protect their resources, but without a growing population, their society was collapsing. Earth scientists, with their knowledge of genetic manipulation, once again offered a potential solution. By introducing genes that promoted accelerated reproduction cycles, combined with a stable environment that allowed for the gradual adaptation of the species, the Ascarii began to grow once more. But it was not just their numbers that increased, it was their understanding of the complexity of life and reproduction that began to change. The Ascarii found themselves not just more numerous, but more attuned to the processes of biological growth and reproduction. These breakthroughs spread like wildfire across the galaxy. The Neru, a species of aquatic beings from a vast water planet, had once been restricted to their oceans, unable to adapt to the changing salinity of their seas. By introducing human genes that enhanced their ability to process oxygen from both water and air, human scientists helped the Neru species evolve into a more versatile form, able to explore both land and sea in ways they never thought possible. The Talari, a plant-based species with no concept of sexual reproduction, faced extinction when their environment changed and their asexual reproduction no longer functioned effectively. Human geneticists helped them integrate sexual reproduction, opening up new avenues for biological growth and stability. As word spread, humanity found itself at the center of a new era of galactic cooperation. It was not just their technology that had earned them respect, it was their genetic innovations. And these innovations were not limited to biological interventions. They began to inspire new ways of thinking about evolution and biology. Once rigid concepts of race, species, and genetic purity began to erode as more and more species embraced the idea that evolution was not a fixed path, but a living, breathing force that could be influenced and shaped by knowledge and cooperation. The very notion that a species could change, evolve, and adapt to its environment, not through slow, random mutations, but through intentional genetic engineering, reshaped the galactic view of biology. Evolution, it seemed, could be guided. This shift in thinking was not universally accepted. There were factions, especially among the older, more traditional species, that feared what human genetic influence could mean. The Zorvans, an ancient species of psychic beings, viewed the very idea of genetic manipulation as a form of contamination. The Archon, a warrior race of great strength and pride, believed that the essence of their species was tied to their natural evolution, and they resisted any notion of changing their biology. These species viewed Earth's interventions with suspicion, questioning whether humanity's knowledge of genetics would ultimately lead to the extinction of individuality in favor of a homogenized, engineered galaxy. Despite the controversies, humanity's work continued. Human scientists, who had initially been outsiders in the galaxy, had now become some of the most sought-after experts in the field of genetic manipulation. Their breakthroughs in alien evolution had opened up entirely new fields of research. The ability to unlock the potential of a species' genetic code had become one of the galaxy's most valuable commodities. Yet, humanity remained firm in their belief that their role was not to dominate or control the evolution of other species, but to help guide them through the challenges of survival. They emphasized the importance of working with alien cultures and respecting their biological integrity, even as they offered their genetic expertise. The real breakthrough, however, was not just in the genetic transformations themselves, but in the deeper understanding they fostered across species. As humans shared their knowledge, they also shared their philosophy that diversity, biological and otherwise, was the key to survival in a vast and unpredictable universe. They taught that the strength of a species lay not in its ability to remain the same, but in its ability to adapt, to change, and to learn from one another. In the years that followed, Earth became known as the cradle of biological enlightenment, a symbol of the possibility that even the most distant and ancient species could evolve again. Humans, whose genetic diversity had once been seen as a curiosity, were now regarded as the architects of the future of life itself. As the galaxy embraced this new era of evolutionary cooperation, the once stagnant species flourished in ways they never thought possible, all thanks to the profound influence of Earth's remarkable genetic legacy.